From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Local Point. I'm David Gale, your host for today, and for Chris Piner. We'd like to welcome Rick Robbins into this VTV6 studio now to discuss the Out of the Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk. Rick, thank you for coming once again. This is at least my second time talking to you about this. We talked about it again last year, but maybe we should just start by giving the folks out there a little bit of background in case they didn't see the last episode. Tell me who you are, a little bit about the organization and your part of it.
My name is Rick Robbins. I'm with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Premier fundraiser is Out of the Darkness, a walk to fight suicide. I'm a volunteer. We try to go through the whole state if possible to raise awareness and advocate state and federal governments for funds to fight, to support mental illness.
Yes. So again, that acronym,
AFSP.
AFSP, which stands again for?
American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
And it's a national organization, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you're part of the Utah chapter.
Yes, that's correct.
Specifically here in the Uinta Basin?
It's part of the chapter. It's based in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
Taryn Aiken is the chairperson, and they have 12 members on the board.
Okay. And one of your primary, is it a fundraiser or is it just a prevention walk? Is it just to get information out there? It's
to raise awareness
okay.
for suicide, that it's okay to talk about. Plus, it's
right.
They raise funds this way for
the chapter and for
chapter.
Use, I'm assuming, here in our own area.
Yeah, 50% of the money that we raise here in the basin will stay here in the basement with pamphlets
okay.
and materials. They have a sad video that they put in the schools.
Okay.
And counselors, and we place that, and then to advocate with
okay.
state and federal governments.
So let's talk a little bit about the walk itself. When is it happening? How can people get involved?
August 29th, it's a Saturday.
Okay.
9 a.m. registration starts at the Colton Pavilion, and we'll walk in the walking park just east of there.
Okay, the Colton Pavilion, and which park were we at again?
Is it the Legacy Walking Park?
The Legacy Walking Park, okay.
Yes.
That's the one that's right there next to the big park.
Yes,
there.
that's correct.
Okay. So 9 a.m. Can people register beforehand to go to it?
They can. They can go to afsp.org
okay.
and register there, or they can go to uintarecreation.org and register on that site. There's a prevention site there.
And how long of a walk is it again?
It'll be 3K, 9 laps around the park, and then we're done.
And again, you're calling it a walk. It's not a competition. It's to raise awareness. And hopefully get some fundraising in as well. There's a lot that we can talk about when it comes to suicide and suicide prevention. Maybe we can talk about, to start with, how, like you say, it's a stigma to talk about. Why do you think that is?
The word suicide, scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary subject, so people don't want to talk about it. Maybe they don't know enough about it to talk about it. So by raising awareness that it's okay to talk about suicide and mental illness, that your mind gets sick like the body and needs repair. It needs to reset, so to speak. You need good friends to bring you out of depression or anxiety.
Sure. And the organization that you're part of, it's run by volunteers, correct? Like yourself.
Survivors of suicide, and we want to have a world without suicide.
So for somebody who may find it difficult themselves to talk to you, knowing that the experiences that you've been through, what would you tell somebody if they were like, well, I don't want to offend you, I don't want to bring up bad past feelings. As somebody who has survived this, who has been through your own experiences, what do you tell somebody?
Just treat them normal. Treat us normal. And smile.
That's great.
Yeah, it's simple. It really is, just simple.
So what are do you have any idea that the main causes, the main things that drives someone to suicide? What should we be looking for?
I'd look for somebody that's depressed. It could be a loss of a job, income, family struggles, divorce, grades in school with children of school age, friends, bullying, those kind of things. So if your child's being bullied or something, they'll be depressed. They might take that bully's words to heart, and they forget that there's good things in the world. There's people that care.
Yeah.
And with the foundation, we're people that care, and we want to make a change. And that's all we want to do, is to change the mindset
Sure.
of everyone, that it's okay if you're depressed. Find somebody you can visit with. It might be a coworker, it might be a clinician, it might be somebody in the medical field, but most of what we find is somebody with a good ear.
Yeah. In fact, you know, I wonder if there are people out there who think, yeah, well, I'm never going to have a problem with suicide because I'm stronger than that. Is anybody immune?
Nobody's immune. It can affect you and I. Everybody struggles with something, one form or another, and it may be not you, it might be a family member or a friend that struggles with depression or anxiety.
Sure.
And
The idea that mental illness can come to anybody at any time.
Exactly.
Okay. So I've got questions for you. We've only got about 30 seconds left, and I want to know the approach people can take if they see somebody or they recognize maybe some of these symptoms and want to actually do something. Like you said, awareness, just simply being aware so that the next step can be taken to help anybody, even you and I, like you talk about. We're all going to have bad days. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then maybe how people can get involved, how you can get a little more volunteer help from our own community. So stay with us. We'll be right back to talk about that after this break.
With advanced all-digital cable television from Strata Networks, you can enjoy jaw-dropping digital picture on hundreds of channels, exclusive local programming with VTV6, and follow your favorite college teams in incredible HD on the Pac-12 network, all with no contracts, no costly equipment, and no dishes mounted to your home. For details, visit your Strata store in Roosevelt or Vernal or call 622-5007. Strata Networks. We connect lives.
Hello and welcome back to Local Point. Before the break, we were discussing the Out of Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk with Rick Robbins here. Rick, we were talking about some of the symptoms that people could be aware of, especially friends and family, depression, seeing a change in their behavior. What's the best action for people to take if they've been aware of what's going on and they say, you know, there might be the possibility? What do you do?
You befriend that person. You walk up, say, I notice you're quiet today. Say they're robust and have an outgoing personality, and all of a sudden they're quiet and they've been that way for a few days, maybe a week, and you notice that. You just walk up and say, hey, what can I do to help? And a lot of times they'll just start the conversation. So it's as simple as acknowledging them and asking them what's going on in your life.
And if it gets to a point where they either mention that suicide has been on their mind, or you feel like that's the direction they're going, is there any help?
There is. You can ask them, are you thinking of suicide? And if they say yes, then you visit with them and you keep them talking.
Okay.
And you find out if there's medication that they're taking. And if there is, who's the doctor? And you ask that person, should we get in touch with that doctor? Or do we need to go to a hospital, or is there a family member we can get a hold of that's aware of your situation that you feel you can talk to? And that's.
Is it ever appropriate to get law enforcement or other authorities involved?
Yeah, if there's an imminent threat to life,
sure.
Then sure, call 911 and get them coming, but don't leave the person.
Okay.
Keep the person.
Contact.
Contact.
Contact with somebody. That makes sense.
Keep that person safe for 15 seconds. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the walk that's coming up at the end of August, it's going to be held down at the park. And what are, I know that you guys are doing more than just walking. What are some of the other things that happen at that location?
We'll have a counselor from Northeast Counseling there, so they'll have material, somebody you can talk to. We'll have a memory table. It puts a face to the walk, why we walk. So if you've lost your mother, you bring her picture and
sure.
This is why we walk.
A little bit of a memorial then as well.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they're all survivors, so everyone that you meet is struggling or surviving of loss of suicide, so they're dealing with that. If they're 3 years or 30 years or 6 months, then they can relate to somebody, and that's the neat part about the walk,
Yeah.
is the people involved.
I imagine that you could probably use volunteers. You can use help any way that you can. If somebody's watching now and was interested in helping, how could they?
Call 435-828-4179, and that is my cell number, and we'll put you to work.
Very nice. You've got stuff that can be done.
We do. It's basically advertising and hanging posters right now, and just getting the word out that there is help.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah. So the fundraising aspect of it, people register, and I'm sure you're making some funds off of that that can go towards things. Is there any other way that if somebody was interested in helping financially, you take donations?
We take donations of any kind.
Okay.
Money preferably, but
Sure.
yes, in-kind donations are great.
And does that go to the Utah chapter?
It goes to the Utah chapter, yes, and 50% of that will stay here in the basin with
Okay.
with the work that we are doing.
And that 50%, what do you do with that?
It goes to a SAD video, and making that to get into high schools and counselors' hands. It all goes to advocacy for state and federal governments that we advocate for mental health.
And I think that I read on your sheet there something about maybe some material as well. I don't know if there was brochures, but basically it's just to continue to promote awareness.
That's correct.
For suicide prevention here in our area.
Yes.
Okay. So again, tell us dates and times of the walk and any contact information. Is there a website that anybody can go to?
AFSP.org.
AFSP.org.
Or UNARecreation.org.
Okay, and that's where the UNA Recreation is where they could sign up for it. AFSP as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, give us one more time the main information about the walk itself.
Saturday, August 29th, 9 a.m. registration. Sign up. Walk starts at 10.
Okay.
And join us.
And about how long do you think the whole event's going to
The
be?
whole event starts at 9. We'll be done by noon, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So it just takes up your morning.
Maybe you'll make some friends and go to lunch.
Exactly. For sure. We're going to have some music there.
Oh,
So
really?
That's in the making.
Is this live music?
We're hoping. A local band, high school guys.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that'd be awesome.
Fun.
So
You
that's
come
in the
out
making.
and,
Pay attention to the website. It's going to pop up there.
okay.
So
Do you happen to have a Facebook page or anything like that? Any social media?
I have a Facebook page, Rick Robbins.
Okay.
Friend me, and we'll get some. I got a lot of information on there.
You're
as
just
well.
like the main guy here.
I'm the
You're
main
you're
guy
the
so
contact.
far.
Do you have any other primary volunteers who help you out that are kind of your main underlings, or are you just doing all of this?
I have a couple,
Okay.
but we're just, this is our second annual walk. So
Right.
as we grow and the word gets out, then I'm hoping that we'll have a lot of volunteers.
Okay.
And we can.
How was last year's? How did it turn out?
We had 104 participants, and
Oh,
we
great.
raised a little over $11,000 last year.
That's great.
So
Well, let's
that's
beat
awesome.
that this year then.
Let's beat that. That's the goal.
Okay.
Let's.
And speaking of goals, during the break we had talked a little bit about the organization on a whole has goals that it has set. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, AFSP, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, wants to decrease 20% by the year 2025, and put that to a pencil and lives in 20%. And
That's a lot of lives saved.
somebody dies by suicide every 13 and a half minutes.
Wow.
It's the number 10 leading cause of death in the United States.
Well, let's see what we can do to help then. Thank you, Rick Robbins,
Exactly.
for coming today. And of course, thank you for joining us on this episode of Local Point. Get out to the walk. That's all we'll have for today's show. Be sure to like VTV6 on Facebook for updates on your favorite local programming, and we'll see you here next time.